Hey everyone, it's me, Passion and Bogat. I thought I would talk just a little bit about cults and why cults are very dangerous. I mean, I came from a cult, a religion, of Christianity, and to really dig deep into it, of course, you would have to be, or used to be, a part of a cult yourself. But even if you have not been a part of a cult, you could kind of really understand just a little. And that's all I can really answer for those who have not experienced what it's like to be part of a cult. Like, for example, first up, I like to talk about why cults are very dangerous. I mean, think about it. You have this one charismatic person or group of charismatic individuals that feel that, well, they have the correct way of life, and usually this particular cult, especially if it's religious, because a cult doesn't really, let's say, exhaust its options when it comes to religion itself. What I mean is, religion itself is not the only definition that we could say that a cult belongs to. It could be a cult as far as iPhone versus Apple. It could be one particular business over another. You just have a group of individuals that basically enjoy, see, what they do to, well, an extreme extent. And that within itself can be very dangerous. Hence, you have these archaic words like zealot, and that's an individual that does things to an extreme. We may think in terms of how we have certain sects within Islam that would do devastating things due to what they believe in. That within itself is a very zealous individual. And I know that though my particular way of life at that particular time, many years ago, did not really pertain to blow myself up, but it was still extreme nonetheless because it forbid me to even have outside association with other individuals. They control your way of thinking. And even if you did want to leave, there is a price to pay for leaving. Now, those particular things that I went over makes a cult very dangerous because you have to realize that when I left, I'm very fortunate. The reason why I say that I'm very fortunate is because I believe in not just my own individual problems and what I go through, but however, when I look at others who left their cults at that particular time, they didn't really leave. You get what I'm trying to say? It's like mentally they still have that mindset that if you say something marginally to the left or to the right, somehow this Armageddon, this doomsday belief is going to come and destroy you. And that's just one of the possible beliefs. And mind you, that's something that I once believed in. Hell, there's not a day that goes by that when I'm sleeping and I hear a bang outside, it doesn't really bother me as much, but I think in terms of how would someone would feel if they weren't already in that particular cult or they're leaving and they didn't really disengage with that mindset. Hell, let's say they did leave. They probably think that big, huge bang outside, that huge noise, it's probably some Yahweh figure trying to destroy them or people around them due to their past beliefs. But that could be very dangerous because now you need to think in terms of how would that individual fare when it comes to being in a job, a school. Well, these individuals cannot work very well because they disengage with their prior beliefs. And now they're really trying to make a living. It kind of reminds me of the Amish, how these individuals at a certain point in their lives, I forget the age, but it's really young, but what happens with these individuals is that once they start to leave their particular society, you have to realize that's quite difficult because they don't really have that introduced to them in a very young age. In fact, they live very simply, to put it very mildly. And being the fact that's very mild, hold on one second. Yeah, my dog kind of almost fell off there. But you can see where I'm trying to go with this whole idea where they really cannot operate the way they should, and my heart goes out to them, and that's why I say I find myself very fortunate, and of course I've been through that whole atheist hateful stage. If you get my drift, if you're an atheist, you kind of understand what that's like to be on the outside looking. It's like a self-awareness where you realize the so-called Holy Bible isn't what it says it is, and you've been taught to believe something for such a long time to only realize it's not really true, or at least not for me. So it's like I've been past that phase where I'm angry, and all I can really say to those who are already in it, please be aware. You probably are already experiencing cognitive dissonance where this particular holy scripture or whatever this charismatic leader is saying, you're probably struggling with it because it's like you're trying to equivalate what they're saying as opposed to what you feel inside and what you have already grasped of the world on your own. And that can be quite difficult because, again, you could pretty much go through these thoughts and you can have a tough time because you want to leave, but then it's like if you do, there's some sort of punishment. And that's something that I find to be very dangerous because I gotten certain emails from individuals that try to, they want to leave, but they don't know how. They probably see my other videos most likely about how I was a Jehovah's Witness and how that's a high control group or a religion that has cult-like attributes, meaning it has about 7 to 8 million members, but they have cult-like attributes because if you leave, then you'll be marked. It's kind of reminds me of Scientology. The minute that you make your break for it, the rest will do what is called a spiritual warfare. Please don't quote me, but it's within that lines because the cult that I was a part of, which is Jehovah's Witness, they call it that, spiritual warfare, which means at that particular moment in time, you are allowed to go apeshit, in other words. So in other words, so you think of it this way. At that particular moment, you're able to lie. You're able to look at matters and just deceive as much as possible because you're convinced that the religion you're a part of is practically just God's organization and you're doing it for the right cause. Well, being the fact that I've been there and I did that, it kind of reminds me of how I once was. You see, I was a honest-hearted individual that just wanted to do the right thing. And I still feel there are individuals within these cults that feel they could do the right thing. But they just don't know it yet because they're not really experiencing the full weight of it, if you get my drift. Like, for example, I've heard of the experiences where within my particular religion, they were to basically, hold on, stop, sit down. Behave. Sorry, it's all over the place. They were to basically go to a particular stage within the religion, right? And that higher stage teaches these individuals that you have to act a certain way, and you are supposed to hide whatever negative experiences you had experienced from those who are the common rank and file. But it's only when those who are the common rank and file, they upgrade, so to speak, to the second level, they realize that everything that they were taught was, well, it was misdirecting them the whole entire time. And the individuals that are on this level will never know. And that's something that's really, really creepy because as you upgrade yourself, you start to realize that there's an egotistical aura about people who are on that second tier, third, fourth, and fifth. It's like the higher you go up, the more bullshit you see. And they try to convince you that if you hide this bullshit, you're basically very special. You're a very special worshiper of this particular God, Yahweh, whatever have you. But mind you, as I'm saying this, it's about my particular religion that I came from. And I was able to look at it and feel more or less cheated. Like, this isn't what I would consider to be what is called absolute truth. And at the same time, it just caused me more to question more and more and not sit there and settle for less. And the more that happened, it was as if my mind subconsciously was leaving behind these trails of evidence to lead me away from that particular religion with cult-like attributes. Each and every single time I've experienced something that was very negative, I always try to ask myself very important questions that help me to see, is it possible that I could be just imagining this? And you know how that goes. When you're an individual that really loves what you're doing, you really do try to talk yourself out of it, because you may feel, just like myself, that you're actually have the devil inside and you're leaving for all the wrong reasons. So yeah, I've been through that phase as well. But then again, it's like I just started to think, like, even if it was the devil telling me to leave, I had more than enough evidence to leave. And mind you, it's not that I needed the devil anyway. Even if we want to use that sort of play on words, that exaggeration, I could always come back and say, well, logically, I don't need the devil to leave, and to see that what I'm really getting myself into is not exactly for me anymore. I just outgrown it, and it's something that I don't necessarily need in my life. Perhaps someone who has been in that particular cult for many years, and they don't know anything else but that particular cult. So even if they did leave, they spent 30, 40, even 50 years in that particular cult. I mean, someone like that, I'm not saying that they will never learn, but spending that amount of time, it's a lot of deprogramming. A lot. And that's why I'm saying I'm one of the lucky ones that really gotten out, and I didn't have much to really work on. I mean, I did. And Satan hit me into shape, so to speak, molded me so that I could become the person that I am today. But it's definitely something that I would want to forewarn anyone who wants to join any particular cult or a major religion, an Abrahamic religion, and they really do feel that it's not for them. Because honestly, if they have to control your thinking, they have to interpret everything based off of the Bible and egotism, then those are the two things those are the two things I can think of that is not necessarily for me anyway. And I can't find myself just staying there, because why interpret something on the same amount of effort that I could and then lead hundreds of people, whereas you could be entirely wrong, and these people could put all their trust, their assets into this individual's words to the day they die, to only find out that it was just an interpretation. I find that to be so wrong in every facet of the way. And that's why when I contrast where I am in Satanism, it's like, I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but I'm going to say this anyway because it's not a moot point. I like how Satan doesn't put himself to be some god in a sense where he's omniscient. He's has all these attributes where he's infallible, you know what I mean? And no matter what he does, no matter what he says, he's right and you're wrong. Hell, when I experienced that Satan had lied at one particular point in my life, interestingly, I was shocked that I wasn't moved to leave the left-hand path. I didn't feel distraught. I was a little negative about it, but I understood that at that particular moment in my life, I knew Satan enough to understand that if a particular demon is going to lie to me or you, it's for an express reason and purpose. It's not like Bible fan fiction where they're just floating around everywhere and they just want to lie to you just because. That doesn't make any sense. That sounds like you're trying to demonize some other group because you simply just don't agree with them. And that helps me to appreciate that when I look at Satan, he's more flexible, he's more human-like in nature versus being with a omniscient individual or self-proclaimed omniscient individual. And then when you find fallacies within its word, that makes it, to me, worse. And the reason being is that you said that this is going to happen in the definitive, in the absolute, while being omniscient, all-powerful, and all-loving. But while I see all those claims, it doesn't really tantamount to anything, or at least not for me, and I'm not really happy about that. Hence, that's just one of the reasons why I'm proud to be on the left-hand path. Now, granted, it's not for everyone, and I do feel that it calls a special type of individual, just like the old religion that I was a part of. You have people that are still there today, so obviously it's working out for someone, and it works for them, and they're able to use it, utilize it, and say that it's the best life possible in their eyes. But that's as far as it goes, because it's in their eyes that it's something that works out for them. But for someone like me, it doesn't, because it's just not for me. And I like to leave it at that, because getting into the whole epistemology of it just gets very convoluted from there. It's like the deeper you're going down that rabbit hole, it's just going to be really bizarre from there, and you don't want to do that. But those are my thoughts on why I feel that cults are very dangerous. Those are very, very few points. I mean, there are other videos that could even specialize for you, meaning you don't have to be a part of the Jehovah's Witness cult in order to hear this video. You could be a part of Mormonism, you could be a part of Scientology, Christianity, whatever it may be. If they have cult-like attributes and you're not able to question, and even if you do question and you're wrong by doing so, amongst other stuff, and if it's not for you, don't ever feel that leaving that particular cult is a bad thing. It actually poses as a good thing, because it means that you're a thinking individual, an independent agent, as opposed to someone who wants to sit in church and follow the masses every day and all the time and do what's told. So I hope you love this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please smash that like button if you like. And I'll see you next time. I love you all, and have a good one. See you soon.